Hi guys, today this one's really special because as you know, I'm a mom of two and we deal with hundreds of things on a daily basis. Today we have a very special guest with us, Urvashi Masale, a Stanford certified and a national award winner in child and teen psychology. What else do we need? Here she is, welcome her, and here she is to answer all our queries and so many questions that all of us have in mind. I have you guys covered.
First of all, Gayatri, thank you so much for having me here.
Of course.
And I think, the discussions we are going to have today are quite the need of the hour. A lot of parents, in my opinion and in my experience, are dealing with these issues. And I'm really glad that you've taken, this initiative to, host this meaningful talk. And, I'm looking forward to discussing these, important issues, helping parents take away some value from what we discussed today.
Okay, Urvashi, the first question today is, our toddlers as well as teens face a lot of issues on a daily basis which turn out to the world as tantrums. How do you think on a daily basis the kids feel? What is it that leads to these things, and how can parents deal with tackling the tantrums that they face?
So I'm really glad that you asked me this question about tantrums, because I think it's one of the most common household phenomenon, especially when you have young children.
Exactly.
Something we call as toddler tantrums.
Yes.
And it's, I would say 99% of toddlers go through this phase. And sometimes it can be extremely overwhelming for parents as to how to deal with these tantrums, how to calm your children, or just show them a better way of expressing their emotions, isn't it?
Yeah.
So let me just tell you, usually when a child throws a tantrum, the first thing we do is look at it as something very negative.
Yeah.
And when we look at it as something very negative, our first instinct or reaction as a parent is to battle it.
Correct.
Right? And that brings us into a very negative power struggle with our child or a toddler. And then, we end up feeling guilty. We end up shouting at them. Sometimes, becoming really harsh. And, at the end of the day, we just see that, all these behaviors from us actually didn't help. And the next time the tantrum grew worse, right? So the best thing as a parent you first need to understand is that a tantrum is not a problem. It's not something negative. It's a behavioral sign. If we look at it as something which is very natural, a child is supposed to do, because when you're a child, your emotional development is still in progress. We don't know how to express our emotions correctly. It's like very common, right? Sometimes when adults also don't express themselves correctly, we tell them stop acting like a child.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Because
Very common dialogue, yes.
Very common.
Yeah.
It's because children do not know how to express their needs and emotions correctly. To get their parents' attention, nature has given them this mechanism. Did anybody ever have to teach a child how to throw a tantrum?
No.
They just do it very naturally. It's nature's way of the child getting a parent's attention and getting what they want, right? But now that we have understood it's something very natural, we don't fight it. We understand that it is our child expressing, their desire for something. Usually, when do we see tantrums? Like when our child wants something, or either they are really tired, either they are really hungry, either they want to be heard, or they are upset, or they are angry. So there is something always underlying, the tantrum, which is the trigger. And as parents, when we understand that, it is not the tantrum we are supposed to deal with, it is the underlying issue, the tantrums start to get lesser. Say for example, what do I do when the tantrum is happening?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So when the tantrum is happening, the best thing you can do is be calm. Because now it's not a negative situation, you don't have to overreact. If you are calm, children pick up on energies. They'll pick up on your calm energy, and first and foremost, then and then, it creates a communication platform between you and your child. Because if your child is in a heightened tantrum and you are shouting and screaming, there is no communication. There's just chaos.
Correct.
Right? So, first of all, we as adults need to be calm, and we need to tell our children, we need to ask them, is something bothering you? Do you need something? Sometimes in that heightened state of throwing a tantrum, they usually don't know what to say. So it's us who need to guide them. That, okay, listen, I think I can give you whatever you need. We can solve your problem. But I need you to calm down first, because in this way, I'm not going to listen to you. So when they understand that whatever they need, whatever they want is not going to be met through a tantrum, you're giving them an alternative route. That you don't need to throw a tantrum if you want something. You need to calm down and you need to express it to me. And if your child actually calms down, and expresses what they want, you should immediately follow through with whatever they need. So your child realizes, okay, the way to get my parents' attention is not in this way that I was naturally born with, but okay, my parent is going to listen to me when I'm calm, when I'm asking in a respectful manner. So this is about understanding a tantrum. So a tantrum is usually a child's need, a child's natural response to something. But being parents, we need to guide them out of this primitive instinct. And the best way we do that is when they are in a tantrum, we remaining calm, tell them that, if you want to talk to me, if there is something you need, calm down. I will listen to you. Right? Till then, you're not going to get what you want. And you don't have to shout at the child. You just have to be really assertive in what you're saying and they understand. Right? The worst thing you can do during a tantrum, on the other hand, is lose your patience. Right?
Which most of us do.
Yeah, I know it's hard. It's difficult to see your child in that state, and sometimes you just want it to get over and, get done with it. And that is the biggest mistake we make. Because we are losing our own patience, and we are also teaching our child impatience.
Correct.
Right? So what we need to do first as parents is remember one golden rule. If you reward your child for either a positive or negative behavior, that behavior will be repeated.
Reinforced.
And we may think, that to stop a tantrum, we're just giving the child what they need, or okay, de do isko.
Correct.
Just give them this treat, or just give them this toy, or whatever they are looking for, and calm them, or just give them the mobile. Even the mobile, a lot of parents I see, when the child is in a tantrum, to calm the child's emotions, they show them the mobile.
Yeah,
now that is not calming them or
Correct.
teaching them the right way to deal with that situation.
Absolutely.
That's actually escapism.
Absolutely,
Right?
yeah.
The child never learns, self-regulation. It's like a pacifier, right? What I would suggest is, in such a time, first, we as parents need to be calm.
Absolutely.
Post which, the child needs to know that when they are throwing a tantrum, they are not going to get what they are asking for, but they are going to get it if they calm down, ask politely.
Absolutely.
Right? That's a thumb rule that I always, as a behavioral psychologist, tell parents, that please make sure that you follow this through, no matter how bad the tantrum. And eventually the child realizes that the tantrum is not serving them any purpose, and the intensity starts decreasing, and they start doing more of the behavior which we expect, that is talking politely, respectfully, asking. That's how we guide our children and groom them correctly, even if it's hard, and not
Absolutely.
using alibis, like I said, giving in,
Yeah.
or just doing away with it, or replacing it with a screen.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Urvashi. This was really insightful. From your answer is another question that I have. We mums really go through the trouble of disciplining our kids on a daily basis. Some succeed, some don't. If you could put some light on how to set boundaries and how to exactly discipline our children in a manner which is going to be beneficial to them and us.
What I've seen and observed is that parents, being parents, are very loving, they're very nurturing, caring, Parents today are very in tune with their child's needs. At the same time, we forget that we are also their first role models.
Absolutely, yes.
So parenting to me has to be a very good mix of playing a good cop and the bad cop.
Bad cop, absolutely.
When it is required.
Yes.
I see a lot of parents feeling nervous or scared that, if we are assertive with our children.
Yes.
Or we draw boundaries that, this is what is allowed, this is not allowed, this is not acceptable. And, if we kind of try to discipline our children, we look like the bad guy
Correct.
to our
Yeah.
child. And, somewhere we feel, our heart is melting. But I would strongly suggest that if you want to raise strong, self-disciplined, self-regulated children, there will be places where you will have to be strict, you will have to be stern. You're not being bad to them. Let's
Correct.
not confuse the agenda. You're not being bad or rude or mean,
Yes.
but you're being somebody who's showing them from right to wrong or from acceptable to unacceptable, and who better than you?
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
Because we see so many children today, are entitled. They're,
That's actually the main problem.
yeah, right? Like people get really overwhelmed when I use the word correct your child, because they feel correcting our child means, oh, is there something wrong with my child? To correct is actually to be able to guide your
Absolutely,
child,
yes.
and not that it's because something is wrong with your child. But if you don't, eventually,
Yeah.
things will go out of hand, things will go out of control, because when your child is younger, it's easier to mold them in the right direction.
Absolutely.
But as they grow older, they start expecting that everything is acceptable. And then suddenly parents wake up and, start saying, okay, study, okay, don't do this. And then children are not going to listen.
Yeah.
And that's why you see so many conflicts and so many parents pulling their hair out.
Yeah.
Coming to your question, how can we set boundaries?
Yes.
It's not a one-size-fits-all formula, but
Yeah.
what you can really do is be mindful. And you and your spouse and your family can think of top 2-3 things which are not acceptable to you as a family. It may be, overuse of screen time, or it may be talking rudely with other people, or it may be that you want your child to wake up at a particular time or sleep at a particular time. As a family, select 2 or 3 things which you really wish your kid or child should follow, and ensure that your child is reminded and said, okay, we have to do this. And when they do it, they are really praised well for it. And if they don't, there have to be consequences, that if these things or rules are broken, these will be the consequences. And as parents, we have to ensure that they realize that they are not here to get away with everything.
Exactly.
It's a respectful relationship between a parent and a child.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? You respect my word, I'll respect your word, and it
Yeah.
goes both ways, and they
Yeah.
need to understand that.
Yes.
Right? And other than that, please don't correct your child for anything and everything. Sit straight, don't sit like this, don't touch this, keep your hand, it's like either parents are too lenient or they are too like what we usually call as overpowering or helicopter parenting, where they are telling the child at every step what to do.
Yeah.
So I would say, if you want to start setting some healthy boundaries with your kid,
Yeah.
start with one.
Yeah.
Start with one expected thing
Yeah.
as a parent. Then move on to 2. And when you start praising them, they they look forward
Yes.
to complying with you, listening to you.
Absolutely.
And stick to 2 or 3
Okay.
when they are young, and don't correct them for everything, otherwise they're not going to listen to anything.
That's correct. Again, from your answer comes my question. As you very well put it, that parents want to create a very cushy environment for the kids, and in that we get misleaded. So what, according to you, is a better way of positive parenting that all of us are trying to reinforce in this day and age? And while doing that, how do we set the correct boundaries for our kids?
Really one of the toughest questions.
Trust me. And all of us need an answer to it.
And I'm going to try my best.
Yes.
So, I think the word positive parenting is being thrown around a lot nowadays. Just the way we have, organic food and, it's become the buzzword. Yes. I think positive parenting too has become this kind of buzzword, and everybody wants to jump onto this bandwagon. A lot of people who are promoting positive parenting, I'm sure have the best intention.
Absolutely.
But what they're trying to say is pretty half-baked. And we as parents need to understand that we need to know better, right? Because it's like half knowledge can be more dangerous.
Exactly.
It's the same with positive parenting, and if you would ask me why, it's because certain principles of positive parenting are a must. You don't need to shout at your child, or you don't need to scream at your child, or you don't need to lose your own cool or temper to make your child listen to you. And I think that's where the whole positive parenting theory has come from, because I guess parents before would casually shout at children, or
correct, yes.
And that can actually break their confidence.
Yeah.
But what has happened now, in the want or need to not shout or not scream, parents have landed up on the other extreme, which is probably a little more dangerous, which is called as permissive parenting. So a lot of parents who think they are positively parenting have actually gone into the permissive parenting zone. And what is permissive parenting? Let me tell you. Permissive parents are the ones who look like normal parents, who do normal things. They're very loving, like I said, very doting on their children, very caring, and they forget that to parent is to guide your child to what is right and what is not when required, right? So they give in to every demand of the child. Mama, I want this. Dad, Papa, I want this. Can I get this? Oh yes, beta. Oh yes, of course. Oh, this is for you. This is for you. Providing to the child even before asking. That is not positive parenting. Today we are overwhelming and loading our children with toys, with materialistic things,
absolutely,
with clothes, even before the child can ask for it. So we are in fact, encouraging our children to feel entitled, to lose value for things. We are teaching them, that everything should be instant. If a child was mean to our child, in the class, we are running to the school, complaining to the teachers. We are not allowing children to experience these social skills. And I would say a positive parent is somebody who is a positive influence in the child's life.
Exactly.
And a positive influence is not somebody who's always goody-goody, or who's always creating a perfect environment around their child, a very cushioned environment. A positive influence is someone, or a parent is someone who allows the child to experience negativity as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Who allows the child to experience uncomfortable situations, who allows the child to cry, who allows the child to fight it out themselves, who allows the child to, feel the pain of patience and wait, who encourages the child to work for something. And, such parents may come across initially as non-positive because they are not immediately complying with their child's needs. But I would say such parents are teaching their children patience, value, respect, right? So please parents, when somebody, says positive parenting, yes, you don't need to scream, shout, dominate over your child. But at the same time, you need to find the right balance where you're being assertive, you're being calm, you're allowing them to experience life, unless extreme intervention is required, and helping them learn through experience, like we say, experiential learning.
Absolutely.
Right? To me, positive parenting literally equals to tough love, you know. And tough love means children need to know that they can't, demand whatever comes to their mind, or they can't just behave the way they want. And, because their parents have set certain boundaries.
Yes.
And are not allowing them to just, override, adults around them. Because, yes, positive parenting means that you are your child's friend.
Absolutely, yes.
But it doesn't mean you become a pushover.
Absolutely.
As a parent.
Absolutely.
And it is my guarantee as a behavioral psychologist that when you become a strong and assertive parent, you will see that your children are one of the most well-behaved, well-mannered, cultured, and you've instilled the right values in them. Don't confuse positive parenting, therefore, with permissive parenting, because what we have seen as, in our work, that when parents are too permissive and allow anything and everything, children, when they grow up, they are more prone to anxiety, more prone to depression, more prone to a feeling that the world should work their way. They are more cushioned. They can't handle the ups and downs of life. They don't have any form of discipline. They are not motivated to study because the parents have only done everything for them. So where is the motivation going to come from?
Absolutely.
So that is why, please, it's my request to everybody listening and everybody out there that please ensure that you are giving love, but tough love as well when it is needed.
Absolutely, and you're so right when you say that, because nowadays in this generation, especially in the IB League generation as I call it, parents are very sensitive to any little thing that happens to their child rather than explaining to them how to deal with it, and then they become cruel to other little children around who could be making mistakes, but they're children after all, and they will learn eventually, right? Like, I have a younger son who got bitten at school and came. I didn't make it a big deal or message moms, even though he told me the name of the child who bit him. But I do experience other side of the world also with my older one sometimes, and I just find it very heartbreaking to see how parents are not empathetic about other kids at all, So how do you think that could be kind of corrected in this day and age? Do you think moms could actually reinforce some positivity out of this whole situation?
Gayatri, unfortunately, today children are not seen as children. Because I guess when we were younger, yes, unless it was a very extremely harmful situation, like I said, and that's when parents need to intervene, I think we were pretty much, encouraged to fight our own battles, And I just would like to remind every parent out there that this kind of encouragement starts from a very young age. You can't inculcate this life skill when your child gets older. If you are going to, as a parent, be oversensitive, extremely hyper, like a helicopter parent that, who's pushed my child, or who's hit my child, or who's pulled my child's hair. These are some social situations that are a normal part of every child growing up. Right? My daughter, recently somebody happened to pull her hair in school, and she came and told me, "Oh mama, oh this is..." So I asked her, "So what did you do? If somebody pulled your hair, what did you do?" And she said, "Okay," and that got my child thinking. And my child was like, "Okay, yeah." She got perplexed, and I said, "I think you should decide what you want to do." So she said, "Okay, I'm going to tell that child, this is not the way, or can you not pull my..." I said, "Okay, very good," And that gave my daughter the confidence to deal with another child in that situation without me, evilizing the other child.
Absolutely.
Because the other child was also being a child.
Absolutely.
So every situation is an opportunity
Yeah.
where you can empower and enable your child a little bit more.
Absolutely.
In fact, I also want to say that, today parents are so keen that, their child should imbibe every kind of skill out there. We send our children to so many different kind of classes, enrichment programs, skill developing, whether it's art, dance, music, sports,
Yeah.
whatever it is, all our children's schedules are packed.
Absolutely.
And that
yes.
is actually taking our children away from that little healthy jolting and tumble and jousting which happens with kids in childhood.
Right.
It's only when you allow kids to play freely, right, that your child may go and want a toy and the other child doesn't share, or maybe your child doesn't want to share, and your child understands that, okay, how to politely refuse yet maintain that friendship. So if we are going to step into every situation, first overschedule them so that they don't have any free play.
Yeah.
And when they do have free play, don't allow them in that situation to use their social skills and step in everywhere.
Correct.
It's going to give rise to a very confused and socially, awkward generation.
Absolutely. I think so too.
So I feel a little bit of discomfort when children play is actually healthy. And it is an opportunity for us parents to help our child to think how they would deal in that situation, rather than
Jumping into every situation ourselves. Yes.
Yeah, and unnecessarily making a hue and cry. And children of such parents grow up very emotionally weak and dependent on their parent constantly.
Yeah.
Because they feel, oh, if this happens, mama to the rescue, daddy to the rescue,
Yeah.
which is a good thing, but
Yeah.
not for everything.
Not for everything.
Our duty as parents is not to rescue them
Yeah.
every time,
Yeah.
but to help them fight it out, toughen them up, so that they can face this big bad world on their own, even when we are not around.
Absolutely.
And don't
So
need
true.
anxiety medication and
Yeah.
don't need antidepressants when they grow up. And all this starts from childhood.
Absolutely.
So, if you are a mom that is over concerned, overbearing,
Yeah.
constantly wanting to protect your child, you may end up doing more harm than good.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because overprotectiveness is a mindset. It's not going to go away. So if you're overprotective of your toddler, you're going to be overprotective of your teen and when they grow up as adults.
Yeah.
And you're actually making them highly dependent.
Absolutely.
So I would say start young, be supportive parents, but also allow your children to fight their own battles.
Absolutely. That was beautiful, Urvashi. Thank you so much for answering all our questions so beautifully.
Thank you.
Now, coming to the last one, as you said, positive behavior reinforcement is very important in kids. How do you think we can do it in a way that they get encouraged to repeat that behavior over and over again?
This is really, really a very easy question. And I would say it works wonders. If you want your child to say, do their homework, rather than nagging and reminding and, becoming the nagging mom or dad, I think positive reinforcement is like the secret or magic pill here, because children thrive on acknowledgement,
So true.
or which human doesn't?
Absolutely.
Right? And when I say positive reinforcement, it's a very basic principle that, when your child displays a behavior that you are happy about, you reward them. And when you reward them, it makes the child feel so happy that they, look forward to, repeating that behavior again, because it gives them a sense of achievement, right? Now, the reward not necessarily means something physical, like for example, a treat, or it could also mean very intrinsic. Intrinsic means it could be something that makes them feel really good about themselves, and simple things like praise, right? What we end up doing as parents is, and which I advise we should be extremely mindful of, is we let the good behavior be taken for granted from our children, that this is how it should be. And every time they make a mistake, we try to, nag them about it. I would say, if you want good behavior out of your child, stop focusing on the negative behavior and start praising the already positive behavior that they are displaying. And
So
slowly you would, experience that they are displaying more of those positive behaviors. Now, how do we do that? The main question is, how do we do that? So, with very young children, certain things like creating a behavior chart, works, where, you list down that, okay, you brushed your teeth, or you finished your homework, or, you slept on time, or you had your meal on time. And for every time they do that, you, before they're going to attempt the activity, you tell them, okay, if you brush your teeth right now, I'm going to give you 2 big stars on the positive reinforcement chart. And rather than giving them orders, brush your teeth, do it now, how much time are you taking, what really works with them is that you give them a motivating factor, because that works wonders. And when they hear that, okay, they're going to get 2 stars, or they're going to get some acknowledgement out of it, they run to the washroom and they do what they need to do. And when you put those stars for them, they feel so good about themselves, and those positive behaviors then become their habit. Or what you could also do, to reinforce, positively, is with teenagers, is you can praise.
Yeah.
Sometimes as parents, we don't express enough. Like, I'm really proud of you, beta, that, I know it's hard for you to study. There are so many distractions, but you at least attempted today. You sat for 15-20 minutes.
Wow.
I'm so proud of you, because we only praise when we feel that the ultimate task is over. For example, oh, you didn't study for an hour, you're useless, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your potential, you're going to get bad marks, and we start going on a negative rant with our children. But a mindful parent will see that even in that, even if you ask your child to study for 1 hour, but they focused for 20 minutes, just go and praise them. Oh, you focused for 20 minutes, you did so well, I'm so proud of you. The next day, 20 minutes will become 25, and 25 will become 30. And, it's like the small steps is what we need to praise, and not always looking for the ultimate result or the ultimate positive, behavior. For example, a lot of parents ask me, how do we reduce screen time with positive reinforcement? So I would say, if your child is watching TV for, say, an hour, you can say, okay, let's try to make it 55 minutes today. Don't say no screen time, or don't say 5 minutes screen time. And when, even if they watch for 55 or 56 minutes, and, it's okay if they, but even if 2 minutes earlier they switch off the TV, praise them. I'm so proud of you. I know it's hard, but you did it. I know you could do it.
Yeah.
Rather than what parents do is, they focus on the negative, like, oh, I told you they do this, and oh, you overshot that time, now something is wrong with you, and the child feels so demotivated, and the next time the child is like, forget it, I don't want to listen to my parent. So for every small thing they do, we acknowledge. Trust me, they feel so happy, and they look forward to being better at that every time.
Yes.
So I think positive reinforcement really works wonders.
Lovely.
And this is one of the main things I help parents how to imbibe with their children.
Lovely.
And use it to, help build a stronger relationship between the parent and the child.
That's beautiful.
Thank
you so much, Urvashi, for guiding all of us with these crucial questions which we parents deal with on a daily basis. And as I always say it, I'm a first-time mom, so many of us first-time parents, and we are only learning throughout our journey.
That's true.
It never gets old. Continue guiding us. I'm sure everybody would agree with me that we need more and more of these sessions. Yeah.
I'm humbled, and I, like you said, we are all learning.
Yeah,
I too am
absolutely.
a mother, and I'm really glad that you thought of this, and thank you so much.